from her willingness to pass as well. Their ball pops probably better than, you know, the Mavericks, at least last year. I don't know how it'll be this year, but you know, they had two Super Bowl dominant with Luka and Kyrie, and now they just added shooting and defense. So I'm actually really excited to watch Dallas play.
Still no Kia, and obviously in the last game, we got to see Megan Gustafson in her absence. Just wondering kind of your impressions of her performance and how you build on a showing like that.
I mean, she's been here now, you know, full year. I think she understands our schemes, what we're trying to do, our no-nos, and our yes, please do more of that concepts. So I thought she did great. She's gonna get some more minutes today too. So you know, I mean, at the end of the day, when I've been consistent with her minutes, she's been consistent on the floor, and I haven't been always consistent. Sometimes she went from a DMP to a start, and they always just remain professional. That's one thing they always are as a group, is professional.
And then I know when Kia was initially injured, you said you didn't have a lot of information. What's kind of like the situation there? What do you know about her status, and I guess for like estimated time of return?
I would say soon. She's improved, and I think she needs, I don't know. I mean, I think we can all say that, understand what we know we have here, but I don't know if I'm good to say it or not. I don't know. What's on the stat sheet?
It's just concussion.
There you go, concussion. I've been concussed so many times in my life, so.
Becky, you said the other day you thought that was maybe the most complete game that your team has played, at least in a while, if not all season. But going back through the film, what are some of the things that you think you can even
clean up more? Yeah, there was a couple things, and a couple things that I expect them to adjust to. So we made our adjustments. I'm not telling you what they are, but and we feel like we could do a couple other things maybe a little bit better. But overall, you know, I was really pleased with both sides of the ball. But I really need to and I will be trying to just convey their sense of urgency as well. It will be greater. They'll be more focused. There's just, you know, in our finals that we've been to, we've never won a game 3. And it's always been 2-0 going back to that other person's house. And inevitably there's just human let up. And yeah, I think you saw that a little bit with New York. That's a lot of human nature. But in this league, as we know, you can't take your foot off the gas until the last second. We've lost every game 3 actually in the finals, except for yesterday, which is, we're not in the finals. I mean, it's the semis, but.
On the note of how you expect New York to counter, I guess, you know, when you watch the film back, what did you like about how you guarded Jonquel and how you expect her to adjust?
I think, I mean, it's a little bit of, you know, she got in a little bit of foul trouble that it's always tough to go out and guard the best player on the other team and be in foul trouble. We had foul trouble ourselves a little bit. But for them, I expect a more aggressive, more assertive, more demonstrative team overall, not just JJ, but overall. They're going to get up off the mat. I mean, they're going to throw a punch at us today for sure.
After the last game, you had talked about Kelsey helping to draw up some of that game plan for guarding Sabrina. And I was curious how common that is and how often you find yourself learning from the players.
I always listen to their ideas. I may not do it, but I always listen. In this case, I was like, yep, I like it. And that's what we're going to do. And when she described it, I mean, I had people do it to me. I just didn't know there was a term for it. She was calling it a certain name, and I just didn't know it had a name for it. So yeah, I'm always willing to learn. And I don't really care whose idea it is. If it's the best idea, we're going with it.
Becky, you've said all season, that you've been trying to think of a guy comp for Asia and NBA, and that doesn't really exist. Is there a good comp for Sabrina, do you think, in the NBA?
Um, Don't ask me hard questions this early in the morning. I mean, she's different than, she shoots great, like Steph, like footwork, really quick release, but she's big, like Steph's small for an NBA guard. She's big for a WNBA point guard. Great passer. I'm trying to think of big point guards that can, 3-level scores.
I agree, said Luka. You agree with that?
Yeah, that would be pretty accurate. That would be a good one. Yeah, he's a big boy, a big point guard. He's like a slow dribbler. He takes a lot of dribbles. He's very ball dominant. I think that New York, and it really stems from her willingness to pass as well. Their ball pops probably better than, the Mavericks. At least last year. I don't know how it'll be this year, but they had two Super Bowl dominant with Luka and Kyrie, and now they just added shooting and defense. So I'm actually really excited to watch Dallas play this year, which I've always loved watching them play because I've always loved watching Kyrie and Luka. Luka's a savant, and I don't know if anybody has better handles than Kyrie. So they're a lot of fun to watch. Brought in some defense, so last year, which is always helpful. So Jason's over there doing his thing.
Guys, and then we'll come up to Sabrina.
Hi, Coach, just more of a procedural question. As throughout the year, you kind of talked about like defensive 3-second calls not being called as often, and after game 3, talk a little bit about the whistle that Asia gets. Is there like a process in place to where you're able to send in like clips to the league or anything like that? And if so, have you done that?
Yeah, we do it all the time. They disagree with us 95% of the time. Like we don't know basketball. So sometimes I feel like, I'm arguing with somebody that thinks the world is flat. It's like our baseline is different. Our baseline is different. You got to have a similar starting point. I will say, communicating with Sue, she'll always text back and respond. Not that we agree, probably don't agree on most of it, but did you run any numbers? Because I did. And my team is last in free throw attempts by a lot. Nafisa Collier has shot 40 free throws over the 5-game span in the playoffs. Asia Wilson has shot 17. And you can go from there. Great question. Thanks for bringing that up.
Hey Becky, I apologize if you've talked about this before, but where did the inspiration for the Grace sweatshirts come from?
Oh, it was it was a word of our team this year, which is kind of an odd team word for a basketball player in a basketball team. I had no idea how much we would need it this year. We probably needed more than anything, but I like to do plays on words, and I just used it backwards, which was ace, our race with grace. And we're still running that race. We're still in the race. So we've needed a lot with each other, and I know I always need a lot personally all day, every day. So, and they loved it. Like I got them a bunch of different colors and they just got to pick. So.
Coach, about that, the free throw disparity, why does that sometimes happen? Especially to a player like Asia, who's obviously incredibly established 3-time MVP. Why does it? And I will add, like Sandy said the other day, she felt like you could do anything in that game. Not you, but like anybody. She felt like there was not a lot called in general. So why do you think that does?
I mean, I don't know if it's a talk between the officials, probably a better question for Sue and her crew. Asia led the league in free throw attempts at 7 last year in the playoffs. She averaged 6.6. This year it's 3. So I'm not seeing things. I'm not crazy. I know when a foul happens, we have not gotten a good whistle as a group. I don't expect it to change. So we just gotta go out there and play the game. I mean, there's only so many things you can control, and that's not one of them. So even though I bitch and moan over there, my players are getting hit, period. And here's my thing. I'm not saying that they're not getting hit. Yeah, we foul. I'm just saying we're getting hit equally at the other end and it's not being called. That's how it feels. That's what the numbers say. And I've probably said enough.
Quick basketball question related to Asia. It felt like New York was really doubling her quite a bit for the first two games. I don't think there was a double team in that game three against Asia. Just what have you seen from her as a passer? Is that something that you anticipate you are bringing back in game four?
You know, they got a little bit probably more spread than they have been because of the shooting, which, you know, is always terrifying, probably for both me and Sandy, because there's a lot of firepower on both sides. And so, you know, I think it's a lot of their adjustments, some of ours offensively, we're trying to just get Asia, so there's not so easy a double team, getting her in space where it's very clear where they're coming from. But the biggest thing was our pace, like they didn't have time to set up their defense, which was a huge luxury, even on their makes. I thought our tempo back was really good. Because you don't want to go against that set length. Like you don't want to be taking it out of the net all night with this team and letting that defense get set. So I just think we had a lot of I'll just say they were very disciplined on how we wanted to play last game.
Thank you, Becky.